Board of County Commissioners now back in session. Next on the agenda would be,
We're ready to restore report. Alan called in this morning, so
coordinator report next.
it'll be me. All right, Commissioners. First, Attorney Dan Cox sent me your certificates for your ethics class that you guys took on Saturday. So I have them. I'll put them in your files, and you guys are good to go for this year. Maybe next year we'll do it a little earlier. We'll be able to capture even more people. That was a good turnout, and that was a very good class from what I heard. Item number one. At the June 6th meeting, Jason Puckett, the airport manager, advised the board that he was in the process of creating a request for qualifications for a fixed-base operator at the airport. Mr. Puckett has finalized the RFQ, presented it to the Airport Advisory Committee for their recommendation, and he's not actually here today, but he's requesting board authorization to proceed with advertising. A copy of the RFQ is included in your agenda packet.
Pleasure of the board.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Sanders. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? The motion carries.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. Where, how far he gonna advertise, local and out?
I'll ask. I know for sure he was telling me he's gonna do it through the Times. See if he'll do Panama City and Tallahassee. And I'm not sure if there's some industry advertising that he could put it on some billboard or something with them. So I'll ask him about that, Commissioner.
Real quickly on that issue, I'll go ahead and state, I had a meeting with some of the guys from the Airport Advisory Committee, and they were wanting to do a lot of different things, but one proposal that they came up with was that the county take this over and run the airport and be the FBO. And I explained to them that that probably wasn't advantageous at this time. In order to do that, the airport needs to establish a revenue stream to support all of that. And right now, we don't have that current revenue stream to be able to do that. But there was some of them that said, you know, I know a company here and a company there, they're real reputable. I said, well, then you need to contact these companies and have them respond to the RFQ. So it may not be just in the Times or the newspaper. It may be a lot of different airport
Like a trade,
advisory
online trade or
committee
something,
that is putting out different things to different places, different people they know in Alabama and other locations. So we're hoping that we get a good a response and have a lot of candidates apply for this and see if we can improve that. But as far as the county taking it over and funding it and running it, and you know, we done that a few years back where we had to make sure the airport had fuel, and we know the cost of that.
It was a mess.
And realistically, I did advise them that 98, 99% of the people in Franklin County do not utilize the airport. And therefore, my constituents tell me they don't want their ad valorem tax money put into the airport because they get no benefit out of the airport itself. And that's kind of the way I left the discussion, and that's the way it's always been presented to me on my side. I don't know what constituency is telling the other commissioners in their particular districts, but there's indirect benefits to the county, of course, your restaurants and your lodging establishments and stuff like that. But, you know, like as I said earlier, 98% of the people in Franklin County get no benefits from the airport, and they don't want to have valorem taxes put in there. And that's exactly what they would get if the county took it over. Because there is no other funding mechanism other than the money that we take out of ad valorem out of people's pockets, and we take the taxes away from them. So that's kind of the way I left that discussion. But we're hoping we'll get a lot of response to the RFQ. And maybe we get a different company, maybe we don't. I don't know. We just have to look at the RFQs and make a decision at that time.
And I will verify with Mr. Puckett about the circulation as to where it's going to be advertised and respond back to the board via email. Item number 2, during the 2016 legislative session, Senate Bill 12 was adopted. SB 12, one of the biggest substance abuse and mental health legislation in decades, includes components that require each county, in coordination with the local substance abuse and mental health managing entity, which in our case is Big Bend Community-Based Care, to develop and implement a transportation plan that guides law enforcement in their efforts to transport individuals with mental health crisis to the designated receiving facility. Appalachia Center received a grant, which this board supported, to serve as the circuit's central receiving facility. Attached to your agenda packet are 3 documents regarding the county's plan to comply with SB 12. The first 2 documents are the Behavioral Health Transportation Plan and the Designated Receiving System Plan. The third document is a combination of the 2 plans. Mr. Zachary Summerlin of Big Bend Community Base Care is here today to discuss these plans with the board and is seeking board approval to approve the plans separately, that's the 2 plans, or as a combined document, which is the third document. Attorney Schuler and Sheriff Smith have reviewed all 3 documents. Mr. Summerlin?
Good morning. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate the opportunity. As Mr. Marone explained, my name is Zach Summerlin. I'm with Big Bend Community-Based Care. We are the substance abuse and mental health managing entity, which means we partner with community mental health providers and community substance abuse providers to provide services in the community. Florida statute 394.462 outlines a transportation plan and the need for counties to develop these plans. Apologize for that. Had the statute up on my phone. But they look at this, and so what I'm here today is to discuss those, answer any questions that I have. This transportation plan, what it does is just formalizes something that your sheriff's office already does. There is no additional cost to the county in this transportation plan. It just states that it formalizes what is already in practice. So currently, law enforcement, if someone needs to be involuntarily hospitalized for mental health or substance abuse reasons, which are a Baker Act or a Marchman Act, they would be transported up to Appalachia Center in Tallahassee for that inpatient hospitalization, and this formalizes that current practice.
Basically establishing policy, protocol, and procedure.
Yes, sir. And it's something that's already done, just informally. I know that law enforcement has been great about working with that. It's one of the beauties of being able to work with many of the North Florida counties. We already have this in place. This is just something to kind of formalize that, as opposed to other parts of the state where there's a little more tension over who does what and that sort of stuff. Right now, that's
I would suggest the board approve this as a combined document rather than having a separate document.
Okay. I provided 2 copies of the documents. Really, some counties had elected to do 2 separate documents, and some counties wanted to do a combined document. That is completely up to you. The content in them is the same.
Combined document?
I'll do a motion that we approve this as submitted as a combined document at the request of the chairman, and approve this document today.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
One of the things that I was concerned about when I first read this document is I wanted to make sure that there were no county ad valorem dollars that were going to be expended. You would not be required to hire any person to implement this transportation plan, and the document itself is a little bit, I think, vague on that point, and I'd ask if Zach would get on the record for you this morning a statement of representation that this is wholly funded by grant dollars and that no ad valorem tax dollars are involved in providing for the services paid for by this contract.
So to address that, there is no cost to the county for this. This is a current practice. There is no new cost that would be coming to the county. Appalachia Center was designated through the state Department of Children and Families as a centralized receiving facility. So all of the cost is at the Appalachia Center level, and none of that is coming to you.
Okay, so it's 100% grant funded.
Correct. And they have a sustainability, part of their grant funding application to receive this award was they had to develop a sustainability plan, which is also available, and I am more than happy to, I have a copy of that grant application, and I'm more than happy to share that with anyone who's interested.
If you would, could you provide a copy of that to Director of Administrative Services?
Absolutely.
They can put it on file for the board. We do have a motion and a second on the floor. Motion by Commissioner Sanders, second by Commissioner Massey. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you, sir.
Stay dry.
Item number 3, I was notified by Mr. Mike Cooper, Weems CEO, on Thursday, June 16th, that there was a problem with the hospital's generator. Mr. Cooper explained that $7,500 of repairs were done on the 22-year-old generator as 3 weeks ago, but during the weekly load test last Thursday, the generator failed again. Because the hospital is required to have a standby generator, Weems staff was able to secure a mobile unit at the cost of $900 per week. The estimated cost to repair the 22-year-old generator will probably exceed $15,000. And I got to make a correction there. They got a new proposal yesterday where it's actually down to about somewhere between $11,000 and $12,000 to repair.
To repair the old
To
generator.
repair the old generator, correct. I recommended to Mr. Cooper that he obtain at least 2 quotes for a new generator. As of 1 p.m. yesterday, the only quote he was able to obtain was for $63,000. Mr. Cooper is asking the board to authorize up to $65,000 from the Healthcare Trust Fund for a new generator.
Pleasure of the board.
They gonna need that, and they don't need to, keep on keep on patching up, so that generator 22 years old, and it's gonna cost money to repair, so they might as well get a new one, in my opinion. I mean, it's just played the fool.
You have to charge it, head goes out, it's over.
Yeah.
And they're already paying $900 a week now for a standby, a unit that they rented, so.
That's $1,000
A week, yes. Yes, Commissioner.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we allow him to get up to this amount. But make sure he get more than one estimate.
Yeah, he
Out of the
can call.
capital outlay part of the healthcare trust fund?
Right.
There's some places in Mobile, Michael, there's Caterpillar in Tallahassee, and there's several out in Mobile and Louisiana
Yeah.
that's got generators that he can get a bid on.
Okay, I'll let him know.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If the board is going to move forward with this purchase, you do have your local bid policy, which requires you, absent a state of emergency, to bid out a purchase. From what I'm hearing, given the facts as recited to the board this morning, it would sound to me like the board would have a factual basis to declare a state of emergency and bypass your local bid policy and allow the hospital to purchase this generator, but would require him to get however many quotes you want him to get, 3 or 4. But you would need to declare that state of emergency to bypass your local bid policy.
Well, I wanna add that to my,
Add
can
that
I
to your
just add?
motion.
Can I
Yes,
add?
sir, you can add that to your motion.
I wanna add that to my motion, cause this, a generator, the state require you to have that at a
I
hospital.
think ARCA does, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a requirement.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, though, I would like to have, if you don't mind, before we go out to a vote, I want a little bit of discussion in this. I would like for Michael Marone to talk to Mr. Cooper and to have Mr. Cooper look at these other places like Commissioner Massey was saying.
Yeah.
Because I believe that there's a generator out there that can take care of the problem there at the hospital, lower than $65,000.
Eric Pfeiffer right there in Caravel sells them. The marine system, or his thing, he sells generators, big generators.
So, Commissioner Sanders, you want Mr. Morone to work in
But that's
conjunction
to
with?
add, I'm gonna ask, Mr. Lockley to have his motion reflect what my comments was.
Yeah, you can add that too, 'cause I believe it's something cheaper than what,
We have a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
I'll second his motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Lockley, second by Commissioner Sanders. Further discussion? Alan, speak your name for the record.
Good morning, Commissioners. Alan Pfeiffer, Concerned Citizens, Franklin County. There's 2 issues. One, of course, is that you'd like to take the pressure off of you so that you have time. Recently, at Alligator Point Water Resource District, we lost our main generator, and we were able to obtain a free generator for 6 months from either Florida Rural Water or the Florida Emergency Management, who keeps a stable of generators for emergency use. And that allowed us to go through a normal bid process, and it took about 6 months to get the generator installed. And meanwhile, we had our generator online within 3 or 4 days. So that might be a possibility that there might be a free source of, instead of renting for a generator. So that's my first issue, is maybe you can reduce this so it's not an emergency. The second issue requires a little more thought. I think Mr. Cooper needs to guarantee that any generator that you do buy, and I do think it makes sense to buy a generator versus put the money in on an older generator, but to make sure that he has to certify that the new generator will in fact also handle the new hospital renovation. And that's essential, because I understood from ACA that they were going to require a whole hospital generator, and I could be wrong about that. But whatever the KWs that are going to be required, an engineer needs to say that the size of generator that you're buying is adequate for the installation for today and for the hospital renovation. You would hate to have to come back and either upsize the generator or buy a second generator. These things are fiendishly expensive. But that would be my two comments, and I would like the board to consider that. Thank you very much.
Real quickly, he did address that in the email he sent to the board members, that you were just talking about as far as accommodating the new hospital. All that's been taken care of.
Thank you very much.
My question was on this issue, though, is he can't bid off, we can't get nothing off the state bid list that may save us some money on this purchase?
I think you could look at all of those issues. Whenever he's getting the bids, I think it needs to be communicated to Mr. Cooper that y'all are wanting him to do more than call 1 or 2 people. He needs to.
That's right.
Because he's got a rental presently that doesn't need to be long-term, but for him to call and get a number of reasonable quotes, working in conjunction with your county coordinator to make sure that the best value for public dollars is obtained.
If it comes down to it, Michael could talk to the mayor. We have 240 KWs, that big, nice diesel generators. She'd probably, if we had to rent, use. I know she would let you use them. We run, and during the storm, we took them out to Mississippi, and it run the whole, system out there. We got 2 big generators, 40 KWs. 6-cylinder
Add that
diesels.
to your list there, Mr. Morone.
If we have to
Yeah.
break down, take just a little bit to get it there and somebody to wire it, 'cause I know she'd loan it to us.
When you're in a community as close as what we are, we know the resources out there. And so, get yourself out in the community, you know what you got out there.
We do have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. I just want to be clear on what we're voting on too. Okay, they're going to get from different sources, they're going to get different quotes. We approve it here, are we still going to have any input or knowledge of what quote they're going with before they go with it, or is it just?
If that's what you want me to do,
Well,
I
that's
can,
what I'm
I
trying
can
to
submit
clarify.
all the quotes to the board.
Okay. I'm just trying to,
If-
I'm not trying to convolute it anymore, I'm just trying to make sure I understand what's going on.
Michael, I think the board has directed you work with Mr. Cooper and make sure we
And we
get
get
the best value.
bang for our
it.
buck. Yes, sir.
But provide the commissioners with
What our
what was
decision.
finally decided
Okay.
and why it was done that way.
I will.
That's sufficient, Commissioner Jones?
No, that's fine, I just want to make sure what I was voting on, sir, that's all I was asking.
We do have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries.
All right, Commissioners, item number 4. Sheriff Smith contacted me yesterday regarding a request to move the outer perimeter fence at the Bay City Work Camp area and relocate it to the county jail. Currently, there is not an outer perimeter fence at the county jail, which is allowing contraband to enter into the jail. Basically, someone is able to drive right up to the fence, toss contraband over the fence and into the common area. This creates safety and security issues at the county jail. If the board allows the sheriff to relocate the fence, it will save the county approximately $80,000. That's based on a quote he already got. The only cost the sheriff foresees is a new rolling gate, and that depends on the condition of the rolling gates at the Bay City Work Camp. This will leave one perimeter fence at the Bay City Work Camp. Board action.
I did talk to the sheriff on this issue sometime last week. And I don't want to go into a bunch of discussion, but sounds like it's pretty critical. It is the pleasure of the board. Me and the attorney rode out there and looked at the fencing yesterday. And I think actually what he needs to do is look at the cost of, Michael, he needs to look at the cost of relocating that one layer of fence, and there'll still be a fence around the compound out there. But the cost difference of relocating that fence and what a new fence is gonna cost, so that we got comparison there.
Yes, he did tell me he would use all inmate labor to move the fence.
There's a lot of wire,
I
razor
know,
wire on
especially the
that
razor
fence.
wire.
if
Shane
that
and I
ever-
talked about the
If it ever
liability,
gets
sir.
loose from you, it's gonna eat you up.
Yes,
I mean, 'cause it's all coiled up. When it starts uncoiling, if you
Yeah.
don't know what you're doing, it can eat somebody up.
I ain't getting around.
depending on the board action today, what I have already told the sheriff, what he needs to do is meet with Shane out there at Bay City and actually look at what he wants.
Who's expected to take this fence down?
He told me inmate labor,
The inmate labor that he has at the sheriff's department?
Yes.
So he's gonna take care of all that?
yes.
Okay, well,
Will the state allow them to mess with that?
I don't know. That'd be between the sheriff and,
I guess.
I
so.
don't know. I'm just saying, me and Mr. Schuler rode out there and looked at it yesterday, and it's coiled up razor wire like you see at every prison. Now, I don't know how you get that out of there.
I wouldn't touch it.
I mean, either, but I'm just saying, Michael, if you'll bring that, I can't make a motion, but I'd like somebody to make a motion directing the sheriff to look at,
I'll make a motion, Sheriff Director, look at it and see what he can do to, move it,
I mean, we're all about saving money.
and all
but-
in safety too.
Yeah, make sure it's safe. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I second that.
We have a-
Make sure it's
We have a
safe,
motion on the
because
floor by Commissioner Massey, second by Commissioner Lockley.
And make sure, yeah, make sure it's safe, cause we don't want none of that to fall back on the county.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's kind of getting ahead because we're having them just look at it now. That's what the motion is for. But just a question. Is there a standard that those fences are supposed to be apart from each other, 4 foot, 8 foot? And if so, is there enough room at our present facility to allow for that?
That's a question I have to ask the sheriff.
Because,
for you,
I
sir.
mean, if it's designed to get rid of contraband coming leading through the fence, we make sure it's as wide as it can be, so it still can't get through.
Yes, there's a bigger
Mm,
buffer
right,
between the
That's-
area the
that's-
inmates are and where the fence is.
Right.
The
I
prison,
understand.
the one at the Carabel prison, or Franklin, it's about 3 foot in between it and the Rabbit Run. They got about 3 foot, then they got the Rabbit Run, it's just enough room to walk through.
But they actually have more than a double fence there, though, don't they?
They got a big fence up top, then they got a little Rabbit Run inside that they
Walk through.
walk through.
They can put-
Commissioner, I'm sorry, in anticipation of your next question, which, if you guys remember, Commissioner Jones was saying, but about a year and a half ago, maybe even a little bit longer, you guys had authorized camera system out there at
Security cameras.
Bay City. What happened, Duke Energy took quite some time in getting us power out there for the cameras. So I will admit that project kind of fell to the wayside. They finally got the power out there, but we never moved forward with the cameras. Well, we will now, because if the sheriff removes that outer fence, we only have one fence out there, and it's still the county's property, and Commissioner Massey said the liability, so we have to protect it as best as we can. So for due diligence purposes, I will move forward with that project that you guys approved, like I said, probably over a year and a half ago.
We need to do that anyway.
Anybody?
Mr. Chairman, with Michael bringing that up about the security cameras, and gonna get quotes and stuff, we've already got the road department with security cameras. I'm getting off, but I'm gonna come back to this subject. We've already got the road department with security cameras. Why don't we look at having the road, we got the road department, having solid waste with security cameras and the Bay City work camp out here, and see what kind of quote we can do, and do it as a package type thing.
Trying to save money. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and, do that.
And basically, Michael is using the same contractor that done the road department. To do
Good.
Bay City work camp,
Well,
which
then
the
do
board
the-
has previously approved.
Yeah,
Uh,
let them do the solid waste.
Okay.
They're gonna have to check somebody with that fence to make sure that they don't destroy that fence getting it down. You know how you take an old fence down, it buckles and
Well, one more thing real quick, and we'll get off this subject, but if the board allows the sheriff to relocate the fence, it would save the county approximately $80,000.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, if
I
they can
haven't,
get that
the
razor
board
wire
has not
down.
authorized anybody to spend $80,000. Okay?
know what I'm saying.
So, we're gonna try to relocate a fence, or we're gonna get some quotes on that stuff.
I can
But
see that.
Yeah,
as you're dealing with this issue, Michael,
yes, sir.
nobody here said we willing to spend $80,000.
I,
Nobody here says we have
$1,000 to
$80,000.
spend.
Mr. Chairman, what I
Okay,
was,
so that's,
That was
I
basically-
wanna stop before we get to that point,
Yes, sir.
to make sure that he's aware that this board does not have $80,000.
To buy a new fence.
And if we have to address this during this coming up budget cycle, as I stated earlier in the meeting, something gonna have to give.